Oh my God, what's going on?
Oh my God, I don't
I
know.
haven't seen
Do
you
you
in
know what's
so
going
long.
on?
How are you?
Hi, I'm so good. How are
I'm good.
you?
You look so cute in a little
Oh,
headband.
thank you. What's
Aw.
new?
Nothing. I've just been manic.
Oh,
I've been happy lately. You know what
really?
actually? Do you know what I've been lately?
Tell me.
I have not gone to the gym in weeks.
Hmm.
I've been waking up at 9 a.m.,
Right.
9:30,
Mm-hmm.
8:30 on weekdays,
Mm-hmm.
which I know that's the norm for some people and go off, live your life. That's none of my business. But for me personally, that's disgusting. I can't do that. I wake
Right.
up at the crack of dawn.
Well, because there simply aren't enough hours in the day. And so when you do wake up that late, it's like you feel like your whole day has been shot.
Well, correct. But like, I have been also going to bed at like 1, 2 a.m. every night. And it's just, I've been
Mm-hmm.
partying. So
Hmm.
let me get to the punchline. I have been partying every single day for the past 3 weeks. I have been on a bender. I have been just having fucking fun. And I have been
Mm-hmm.
living my life and I have been spending every fucking dollar that I can get my hands on. I am spending every single dollar. I am partying, I am living, I am running around town, I am doing whatever the fuck I want. And I
Good.
was mad at myself for a while, up
Mm-hmm.
until probably today. And I was like, you know what? It's the fucking holidays.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be obese. I'm going to be morbidly obese. I am not, the gym is not, talk about not my business. I don't want to deal
Does
with
not
that.
exist until
Doesn't
January
work for
1st.
me. That's not my vibe. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care. I'm going out. I'm saying yes to everything. Low key, Q4, we're finishing off strong. We're
So strong.
celebrating. Like, we're working hard. We're playing hard. We're doing whatever the fuck we want.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not care. I'm going to go into 2025 being a fucking blimp. I'm going to be 275 pounds. I'm going to be a walking piece of sodium. I do not fucking care. I'm going to be morbidly obese. And you know what? I will fucking sort that out and cross that bridge on January 1st. I do not give a fuck. I'm releasing control. I'm not going to be stressed out. I'm partying. I'm doing whatever the fuck I want. I don't give a fuck.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I really, really, really respect that you are just fully embracing this right now because can I tell you what? January 1st, tip of the iceberg 2025, like all of 2025 is going to be so far beyond out of our control. Like what
Mm-hmm.
happens in like I'm telling everybody and I have been telling everybody buckle the fuck up cuz 2025 is going to be like such an insane year and I just think that like while you can afford to embrace this like chaotic like not giving a fuck like just release of control, embrace it because like January 1st, like game on. Like I think
But also within the same breath, like releasing control, but game on.
yeah. No, releasing control right now because this is like the calm before the storm is what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying, you know?
Uh-huh.
I've never been the type of person to be like new year, new me, like January 1st is a new start, like blah 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 blah. But I really have a different perspective on 2025 and I'm like I don't know if it's going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be bad. I don't know if it's going to be neutral. But what I do know is that a lot of fucking shit is going to happen in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we all need to just buckle up and like be
Mm-hmm.
along for the ride. So I think like, while we can afford to live in this like carefree, like state where we just release control and have fun and enjoy it, like, let's do that because like the game is on
Yeah.
January 1st.
I'm releasing control in the sense of like I literally cannot comply with my schedule in any physical, mental, emotional way. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just not happening for me right
Mm-hmm.
now. Like the fucking holidays are, there's a lot going on. Like I am like over the weekend, it's like there's 3 holiday parties and a birthday every single weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be hungover Monday through Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm gonna be fucking hungover Monday through Thursday, and I don't care.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I will have a 4-day come down, and you know what? I'm gonna live, and I'm gonna be fine, and I'm gonna survive, and I'm gonna persevere, and I'm not gonna say no to spending time with the people that I love, and like doing fun shit with my friends. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like we're like so stressed out because it's like fucking up like our like routine regular
Yeah.
lives, but it's also like be where your feet are. That's what my friend
Mm-hmm.
keeps reminding me. Hi Liv, if you're listening. Be where your feet are. Literally just enjoy it while you can.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Embrace the moment cuz like this
It's hard to embrace
fun.
the moment though when you feel fat.
Okay, well, take an Ozempic shot January 1st. Like you'll be fine.
I'm gonna take that December 26th.
Perfect.
So when January 1st happens, my
You're ahead of the game.
my I'm ahead of the game, and my fatigue and my body aches and my nausea have subsided. So
Yeah.
January 1st, I'm gonna be like, "Hi girls, my lower back actually doesn't hurt, and I'm not nauseous, and I have ran out of Zofran. So you know what? I'm gonna take it December 26th after I've binge ate every single one of my grandma's Italian Christmas cookies, and then we're gonna just fly into the new year.
Love.
Fly into the new year.
Hi girls.
Hey.
Welcome back to Hot and Bothered. I'm Cedar Champ.
I'm Chris Bruno.
And on this podcast, we talk about everything that we find hot as fuck.
And everything that bothers the shit out of us.
We have no credentials.
Minimal life experience.
And don't take our advice on anything.
At all.
I want to talk about Luigi.
Let's talk about Luigi.
I want to talk about Luigi.
Let's talk about Luigi. Everyone in America wants to fuck Luigi.
Chris doesn't want to fuck Luigi. He's the only person in America that doesn't want to fuck Luigi.
It makes me feel uncomfortable. Like, I don't know. I feel like I like got my whole fix with like the Menendez brothers. It's like, okay, they're hot and like they're
Did you watch the Netflix show or whatever it was?
Of course I did.
Okay.
And it's like I don't want to be like a wet blanket, but I'm just like, yeah, the show is good, and like, yes, they're hot, but I'm like, at the end of the day, I think like, call me again a fucking wet blanket, a loser. Like, if you kill somebody, like, you're a crazy person. I don't care how hot you are, like what you look like, if you're straight, gay, bisexual. I don't care. Like, if you kill somebody, I'm like, okay, you're crazy. I don't care. Like, I don't care. And that's just like me being like stupid and like lazy and not doing my research, but I'm just like, you're crazy.
I think that's like a very reasonable, logical mindset for sure. And like I obviously have to pose the question of like, I mean, but people go into the military. Like people voluntarily enlist in the military knowing that they're probably going to have to kill
they're
people.
like a little weird too.
Well, no, I fully agree with
Like,
that.
that's a little weird to me too.
1000%.
I'm like,
1000%.
that's a little odd. I mean, I know people enlist in the military and the Air Force and do all that because they want like benefits for the rest of their life. But those
Right.
people are a little cuckoo, and then you come up. Okay, I love our veterans and thank you for serving our country.
Thank you so much.
Like, thank you for serving our country, honestly. But
It's like not super cool to kill somebody.
I don't know. I'm just
So-
like weird. Like, my dad sends me pictures every day of like the gophers and like the squirrels that like he killed like on our property.
Oh, I don't like that.
And I'm like,
Mm-mm.
not that he like killed, but he like gets in the traps and then he grabs them and he like always sends it in our family group chat. He's like, got another one. And I'm like, I don't like things dying.
Killing things.
Like, I don't, that doesn't sit well with me.
I think that that's so normal.
I just like that gives me like, that makes me like squirm and feel weird. And I understand that like our generation and our society can like make a joke about literally anything. And
For
I like
sure, and I love them for
absolutely
that.
love and appreciate that. But I don't know. I just I'm being like a total fucking loser wet blanket. I understand. So I'm at peace with that.
Okay, I don't think it's total loser wet blanket energy. I totally, fully, 1000% understand where you're coming from. For me, and I think the vast majority of other people that are like so horny for this man,
Uh-huh.
I think it's like Okay, so like, say you're a cuckoo bird, you enlist in the military just for whatever reason you decide to enlist in the military.
Mm-hmm. I
Um,
mean, a lot of people don't have a choice. Okay,
some
now I
people
feel bad and
don't.
I'm like taking things back. I'm like, a lot of people enlist in the military because they don't have the same opportunities as people like us.
1000%. The land I come from, there are a lot of people that enlist in the military because they have, it's not, obviously, I'm not trying to accuse these people of like wanting to go kill people, but they have like a certain mindset where they're like, yeah, like I need to do this big, bold thing.
Like, I'm gonna be a man if I go into the
I need to
military.
do, and I need to fight for my country. I need to stand up for my country. I need to do
And
like whatever.
slay.
And like that is the mindset and the mentality going into it. And like I can underthighs.
Understand and empathize. Under thighs. I can under thighs.
We should make that into a term. Honestly, yeah. And I'm really glad that you understood what I was summarizing with
Under
the
thighs.
word under.
I under thighs.
Oh my god. Anyway, well, I don't even need to finish that sentence because you wrapped it
Cedar
up for
understands
me.
and empathizes with people that want to enlist in the military, as do
But
I.
okay, anyway, so what I wanted to say was like this situation with Luigi, it was like it's almost even more noble. Don't nobody shoot me for saying this. Like don't get mad at me. It's a hot take probably for some people. If you're listening to this, I don't know, but anyway, it's almost more noble than somebody who like enlists in the military because it's like you go to the military, you stand up for your country, you fight for your country, like you're risking your life and you might have to kill people. And best case scenario, you come back home and you move on with your life, right? This guy did something, not that it's right to kill people, but he did something to take a stand, make a statement, and stand up for something that he believed in, knowing that he doesn't have a future after this.
That's where I think it's absolutely
Crazy.
fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I think, well, I understand, like, he's probably going to be like an icon and like a piece of history for the rest of his life. Like, go off, do whatever. Like, you made a textbook that's going to come out in like 2075. Like, you're good, great. But, like, for me, I'm like,
Do you think that's why he did it though?
I don't know why the fuck he did it. I don't
To
know
make
why
history? I don't feel like he did it to make history. I feel like he did it to like show people something, to open people's eyes to something.
Okay, okay. I understand where you're coming from and good for him. I just think that like for me, I can't get past the point of being like I'm going to kill somebody and like ruin my family's life, ruin this person's family's life, kill somebody, and then I'm going to be locked away in prison for the rest of my life. And I understand that his point is for like the greater good and da 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 da. Like I understand that, but maybe I'm just like a selfish pussy. I don't know.
Well, I will say that it's so fun to look at the mugshot of this man and be like, okay, this man is so fuckable. And like what he did was like kind of a slay. Like it's not right to kill people. And I really do feel sorry for the deceased and his family. But
Like, why am I being such a pussy about this?
no. But if I really think about it, because it's like fun. Like this is like this person is like he's a figment of our fucking
Like, he's a
imagination. He's a
character.
character. He's not a real person,
Yeah.
right? But if you were to think about it, like if this was my relative, if this was my boyfriend, if this was like whatever, like no, I don't think I could. I don't think I could ever like actually genuinely be with somebody that has like legitimately killed somebody. So like that's a whole other story. And it's fun for us to make jokes on the internet and for us to talk about how hot he is and how much
Yeah.
we all want to fuck him. But like at the end of the day, like I understand. I feel like your brain is going to like the logic kind of,
Yeah. I don't
and you're not
know.
playing into like the fantasy of the
I'm
whole
not playing
thing.
into the fantasy of the whole
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
which I typically do. I love playing into a fantasy, but um it's just not. I'm just like I don't. Oh, I'm like I don't
Mm-hmm.
care.
Yeah,
I'm like he's weird.
I
Like
hear you.
like he's weird, and then like everyone in like I'm in 57 group chats as I've mentioned 1,000 times, and like everybody in all of these group chats is talking about it. They're all finding his Instagram. They're all comparing mutuals. One person was like, "Oh my god, I think I met him." Like everybody is like going crazy. Like everyone is going crazy. One of my girlfriends was like, "I think I may have fucked him." I was like, "Oh my god, what's going on
What
here?"
is going on
Like I was
here?
like, "Probably." How old is this guy?
No idea. I'm honestly undereducated on the situation. I
Me
shouldn't be
too.
talking about
I have no
it.
idea what's going on.
No, I don't either. I just think the conversation between the differing opinions is like interesting, and that's why I'm talking about it now. But truthfully, I know nothing about anything, and I don't really need to know anything about anything because it doesn't matter.
I love that. I feel bad.
For what?
I don't know. We were talking about the military, and then now we're talking about this
Oh,
person. I don't know. I'm just like, everybody is.
I just think at the end of the day, like, I do think it's crazy that we live in a world where even the fact that like militaries exist and like war is a thing and like people kill people, that is like, I live in a bubble and I'm very safe and protected. And like, it's so barbaric and it's so creepy and crazy to me that like, we're so lucky to be so fucking safe in our country, which
Hmm.
like, for the most part.
In Los Angeles.
Yeah, and like even LA isn't like that
I
safe,
just
but
like
like
feel like I have the opinion that like my grandmother would have on this situation, not somebody, not a gay man who's 29 years old.
what do you mean by that? With the situation with Luigi?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Because like for some reason you just don't want to fuck him.
I'm just like, you're weird. Like you're weird, dude.
Yeah,
Like you're kind of
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, anyway, I just think that like
You were talking about the theatrics of it earlier, which was like funny.
oh yeah, I saw
Yeah.
someone post on the internet saying like yeah, it's wrong to kill people and like they do feel bad for like the deceased and his family and what have you, but like they did really appreciate the effort in the theatrics that Luigi put into this
Yeah.
whole situation. And like I'm not going to lie, like it's one thing to like go show up at somebody's house in the middle of the night and murder somebody just because you want to murder somebody, but this man like really
Had a plan.
not only a plan, he had a
That's what's
message to
crazy
send.
to me though, is like the plan. I'm like, oh my God, like put your energy somewhere
The
else.
plan, but like to make a bigger statement because he had a message to send. Like
No,
he
and I
did.
get that. And I get that
Which
and I
essentially
respect
isn't
that.
that what war is in a nutshell? It's just like on like his situation is just this much smaller scale. Like
Almost seemingly personal.
no, not really.
Well, kind of.
Because
He's
well,
like,
it's obviously not personal when there's so many people like millions of people like across America being like honestly like kind of want to fuck the guy,
I mean, but
you
he like,
know.
yeah, but at the same time, like he looks like a pussy. Like he got caught and like, okay, go to jail now.
He doesn't look like a pussy though.
Kind of.
He knew he was going to get caught. Did you see all of the like
Yeah, but at the same
statements?
time, I'm just like, you could have killed somebody else and then you would have looked a little cooler.
Like who?
I don't know, another fucking healthcare person, he probably had a whole fucking lineup of
Why would it have been cooler if it was somebody else?
like because he got caught after one person.
Oh, if he would have killed more people.
Yeah. I'm like that would have been more iconic.
Okay, so
Hello?
you're disgusting for killing somebody, and then you're like it'd be cooler if you killed more people.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, that was a fun little blurb.
Detour.
Um. Yeah. Anyway, so
Ugh.
that's the little weekly recap. Let's get into what's going on, what's major, what's new. Are you hot or are you bothered this week?
I'm hot this week. I'm hot this week, and this is gonna get like a little personal, and this is gonna get we're changing the scene right
Changing
now. We're
tunes.
changing tunes, a change
Okay.
of tune here.
Let's do it.
So I'm hot this week because I feel like my path of life, like I have never been able. I've been very fortunate. I've been very fortunate, and not only because of like where and how I grew up. That's also like kind of subjective, but I also have just like a mindset built into my brain that's like I'm just a queen of manifestation and like do whatever I want and that's my vibe. Anyway, I have always taken the long and hard route
Mm.
with everything that I've done.
Mm-hmm.
And lately, what I've been finding is people around me have been fortunate enough to be able to take shortcuts, to cut corners,
Mm.
to jump ahead in ways that I have not. You know what I mean? And so, like, I've been reflecting kind of on this past year with things that I've done with work and things that we've accomplished with this podcast and comparing myself, which I really don't like to compare myself to people. Like, I think that that's a very unhealthy thing.
Mm-hmm. But
But
sometimes you can't
it's
help.
inevitable. It's
Yeah.
inevitable. And I feel like a lot of people around me, and like the more people that I'm getting to know, and the more people that I'm kind of like learning about their stories and how they've gotten from point A to point Z or from point A to point B, I'm just like, it's making me reflect on like my journey and my career thus far. And it's been really interesting just to see how, um, and I may sound a little judgmental because I don't know everyone's story fully, and I don't like, everybody has a different life and a different path and whatever. But mostly it's made me reflect on myself. And with that being said, I've again compared the things that I've gone through to the things that people are telling me, which is like, I'm going to take it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's been really interesting because I feel like I've always been like, had this mindset of, I mean, my parents raised me to like work hard. If you want something, you have to earn it. If you want
Mm-hmm.
this, you have to, work and whatever. Like, my parents are very old school. Like, I've had a job since I was 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And with the start of my career, like, I've had fucking jobs that are absolutely miserable. Like, I have had
Mm-hmm.
my first job, like, I was making literally $27,000 a year working at a PR agency in Los Angeles. Miserable. Like,
Mm-hmm.
miserable, horrible. Literally wanted to kill myself every day. Like, I was like, I had no idea what the fuck I got myself into, and was like unable to live off of that type of salary, obviously, as anyone would.
Mm-hmm.
And um looking back and like reflecting on all the like hardships that I've gone through, and like the emotional and mental and physical fucking labor that I put myself through, I'm like, I would rather have it be that way than cut corners and not have the skills and the knowledge that I've obtained over the past t- 10 years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would rather, like, if every single thing that I have learned over the past 10 years has been something that has been transferable into a new chapter or a new era or a new experience in my life. And I always say, like, when I'm struggling in something, or if I'm put into a position that I don't know how to navigate, like, I really try to enjoy that moment because I know that it's a learning experience. And that's kind of something that I have learned from those past experiences, knowing that at some point in the future, what I'm doing now that's difficult, I'm going to be able to apply what I've learned from that situation into a future situation.
Yeah.
And it's like, a part of me is like bitter that I feel like there's so many people around me that are in
Situations that they
subjectively,
seemingly like fell into, kind
yes,
of.
like that they've, like, I'm gonna sound like a bitter Betty, but I'm like, there are people around me that are just like seemingly doing so well, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, but like, it's not fair that like you just got handed this opportunity, and or like this just felt, and at the end of the day, you never know the full story and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. But like, it's just been an interesting point in my life of reflection where I'm like, there, you know what, fuck it, actually there are so many people around me who just like,
They kind of just seem to like float by, and like they just like don't think about anything really. They don't really do a lot, and then all of a sudden like these like good things just like fall into their lap,
yeah,
and
and
then
I
like
and I'm like, maybe it's just that mindset. Like, maybe I should be more like that and just be like a little more opportunistic and like a little more like ruthless.
mm-hmm.
And maybe this is, maybe I can be, yeah, just like a little, what's the fucking word? Just like
Superficial.
Yeah, but like I'm just not like that. Like I'm
Mhm.
just like not, and like me being a fucking old lady talking about Luigi being like that just like doesn't sit well with me. Like I have like, why are you laughing and looking at me?
I just listening. Go
No, like I
ahead.
have some like old school mindset and mentality that is literally built into my DNA that like as much as I want to be the type of person to be able to take shortcuts and to be able to use people and be, I don't even want to say use people because,
But like, let's be honest, like the people that you're referring to and I'm
yeah,
referring
but
to when we
also,
talk about this,
yeah,
like
it's like,
they kind of like, and I don't think they're doing it like consciously. I
and they're
think it's
not
just
doing it
like,
maliciously. Like, nobody
yeah,
is, like, at the end of the day, nothing fucking matters. And like, if you can go take advantage of someone and get something good out of it, like, go
yeah,
off and go for it.
yeah,
Like, but like, I've never been put in an opportunity to do that. Maybe I have, and I just haven't. I've been so blind to it.
yeah.
But it's just so interesting for me to reflect and compare on some of the people around me, and like, no shame to them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I low key kind of wish that I could be like that. Like,
Yeah.
I low key wish that I could like bypass so many things to get to where I want to be. But like at the end of the day, I think that the way that I'm operating and like the way that I've gone through life is going to last much longer than if I were to jump ahead. Because I feel like if I were to jump ahead, I would be like that's going to expire much quicker and I'm going to have to
Mm-hmm.
be like making up for things
Mm-hmm.
later in life. And I feel like I have like a linear path in a way that's like gradually growing and I'm like at peace with that. But it's just
Yeah.
been again like a really really interesting point in time for me like at the end of the year just to kind of reflect on my life and the way that I've operated and to see to compare it to the other people around me.
Yeah.
And it's just really interesting. And I feel like I connect best with people that have a good work ethic. And again, I just sound like a fucking old ass. I sound like a boomer. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here today? I'm like, I'm being so lame. I'm being so whack. Like, as much as I wish that I could be like a money hungry psychopath that's like fucking people or like doing crazy shit and like, I don't know. Like, that just is like icky to me. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like, I can't do that. I'm like, I don't know. There's something really like old school in my fucking brain that like I cannot shake, you know? And I'm hot because of it. I'm going to lean into it. Like I don't care. And like I'm very privy of the saying work harder not smarter. Like I think that there's a difference between working harder and working smarter. Um but again reflecting a lot of the things that I have experienced in the past where I was having a miserable time have really fucking come in handy in a lot of situations in my career at this point that I'm like, oh my God, like remember when I was suicidal doing X, Y, and Z, and now here I am applying all those skills in a much bigger capacity. And like I can't imagine a life in which I didn't have those skills to like rely on.
Fall back on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like those experiences shape you
Yeah.
genuinely.
Yeah. And anything between being like knowing how to send an email the proper way or knowing how to maneuver a conversation with a very influential person, celebrity. Like, I don't know. It's just like there have been so many things that I was like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. And then basically what I'm trying to say is I'm proud of myself.
Slay.
Right?
Slay.
And I'm like, whatever. My life is gorgeous. I don't give a fuck. And
I have some things to add.
please,
Are you
like,
ready?
I'm done talking. My breath is like gonna kill me.
Okay. So I kind of had I had a moment of crisis last year. I don't want to say around this time, probably just over a year ago, whenever that was. Maybe before or around the time we started this podcast. And I had like this moment where I was seeing other people around me and I was being like, they are able to get these things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they're faking their way through things in order to get these things. And whether like, do you know
That sounds so exhausting. I know exactly what you're saying. It's just like fake it till you make it, but like times 1,000. And then
yeah.
it's like, I can't do that.
So I was like analyzing this and I was getting really frustrated because it's like, okay, so I have been like, I'm the type of person I genuinely, truly, and honestly wear my fucking heart on my sleeve. Like anything that it happens in my brain will come out of my mouth. Like I
Mm-hmm.
will tell you exactly how I'm feeling when I'm feeling it. I'm also like so like I'm genuinely such an empath and like I really care about how other people feel as well. And like I feel a lot, right? And I'm very communicative about how I'm feeling and whatever. And I am seeing all these other people that are able to just push those kinds of things aside. And maybe they're not even pushing them aside. Maybe they're just not, maybe those are things that are just not present for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're able to just do what they need to do to accomplish, achieve, acquire the things that they want.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a moment where I was like, fuck, is that what I have to do? And like I had sat on this for a few months actually, and we actually recorded an episode. This was a while back where I talked about how I was like, I'm going to actually just take some time and like emotionally digress. And like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to care about anything or anyone. I'm just going to do what I fucking feel like doing. I'm not going to care about, like, I'm going to ignore all my feelings. I'm going to ignore everybody else's feelings. Like, I don't give a fuck. So I actually tried that and I like attempted that approach at life for like a while, not long. Like, I don't know, what was it? How long did I last? A month? I don't know. And what? How long?
It was like a month and then it backfired.
It was like a month and then it backfired.
Yeah.
And I was like, like none of this feels right. It doesn't feel good. I'm not enjoying myself. Like this isn't for me. Like
Doesn't feel like genuine.
this isn't genuine. And like not only was it not natural for me,
Mm-hmm.
it was physically uncomfortable for me. Like
And you guys, we're not talking about having sex with people to like I
is
feel
that
like
what we're talking
no, I
about?
feel like this is what it sounds like.
Oh.
I feel like this is literally what it sounds like I was implying and then you saying
Oh,
physically
no. No,
uncomfortable.
no,
I'm
no,
like we're
no.
not talking about sleeping with people to get things that we
No, no,
want
no, no, no,
because we
no.
can't do that either.
No, we can't do that
But
either.
it's not
No.
about that.
No.
It's about
It's okay. So, like, this is actually something I never had experienced this until I moved to LA, where you meet people and, like, the situation, the relationship, the dynamic, like, whatever, could be so beneficial to you in so many areas, whether it's your career, whether it's your social life, whether it like whether it's the concert you want to get into next week or the
mm-hmm.
restaurant that you need a reservation at,
Yeah.
like whatever. Like, and I genuinely have never experienced anything like this until I moved to LA, and like even in New York, I never had experienced this. And then you come to LA and there are a lot of those types of relationships, and sometimes you can see them in other people, and you can see
1,000%.
where like these people have these connections with each other, and you can just see that it's like it's that,
It's
you know what I'm saying?
transactional.
It's so
Yeah.
transactional. So anyway, there's a lot of people here specifically in LA that have these types of relationships, and whether they're friendships, work relationships,
Mm-hmm.
romantic relationships, like whatever they are, like a lot of people have these very superficial relationships just so they can get what they want. And I mean it's like it's kind of like textbook definition of like sleeping your way to the top, like
Mm-hmm.
figuratively or literally. Anyway, so I had actually had a falling out kind of with a girlfriend, and like I loved her for many reasons. And after this falling out, it like caused me to question her character. Wasn't really sure if I trusted her and whatever. And I reached a point where I had to question, like, is our friendship so beneficial to me in my life that I would have a disingenuous relationship with this person strictly for the way that it could benefit me?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is no. So anyway, as I was saying, like we had this conversation just over a year ago, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, maybe I'm just gonna like stop caring about things. I'm gonna try and be a less like deep, like emotional person, and I'm just gonna like go with the flow. I'm gonna be like a little like
Moochie.
airy, not even moochy, but just like airy and like not really caring what's going on and
Yeah.
just like vibing
And
out
see how
and
far it
like
can get you.
seeing how far it can get me. And it genuinely just was not right for me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Can I say something?
I didn't mean for this tangent to be this long.
No, but also like you and I are the type of people who are just super uncomfortable by like having people do things for us, whether there's monetary value associated with it or not. Like, and I don't know if that's me proving myself that like I can be independent and I don't need, you know, this or that from you or whatever is being provided to me. But yeah, that's something that I'm like trying to release and be like a little more just like yeah, careless about, but it just I don't know. I don't like feeling like a bum. I don't like feeling like a mooch. I don't like feeling like I can't stand my own in any type of situation. And like I feel like that's why I operate the way that I do and why I've like gone on the journey that I've gone on is because I'm like I will just do it myself
I feel like there can be a happy medium here.
for sure. And I wish I could
And
find that.
I feel like we can be honest with ourselves and honest with the relationships in our lives. Like obviously like it doesn't happen for either of us as people. Like it just doesn't happen. We're not going to have like relationships that are like there strictly for some sort of benefit or gain.
Mhm.
We are just like people that like our interpersonal relationships are there strictly for our emotional and mental development. Like these are people we love and care about and
Mhm.
that care about us in return. And that's what those relationships are for. And we're not going to keep people close to us if we don't feel that.
Mhm.
And that's just second nature. However, second nature, first nature,
I don't know.
whatever nature it is, it's just nature. And but maybe there is a happy medium where we can accept things from other people. Like I do remember I had an ex-boyfriend and like when we were in the midst of falling in love, we went shopping one day and he was like, I want to buy you a new bag. Like I want to buy you a handbag. Like what handbag do you want? We went into literally every designer store ever. And I was so uncomfortable with like receiving something like that from another person that I didn't pick one out. I couldn't. And I like maybe there's a happy medium where we like allow ourselves to have only authentic connections in our lives, but we allow those connections to show
To also
their appreciation, their love for us in whatever way they choose to accept it, to
Mhm.
accept what those connections want to give us.
Mhm.
What were you going to say?
No, yeah, basically that cuz I was going to say something along the lines of what you just said. Yeah.
What were you going to
I
say?
don't know, I completely forgot because I liked what you were saying.
But I feel like that's what you were saying when you were saying like I can't let anybody buy me anything, and it's like
Yeah.
I feel the exact same way, and so we're both at this crossroads where we're like, well, we can't have superficial relationships, but we're also really not willing to allow people to like show us to like demonstrate
Mhm.
their love for us sometimes in the way that they want to because it
Mhm.
makes us a little uncomfortable. So maybe there is a happy medium where we don't allow superficial relationships, but we also allow the relationships that we have to.
Show us their appreciation in whatever
Am
form.
I on the right path?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're
Like
aligned.
no, I totally understand like
Yeah.
that could be normal for someone. Like someone could want to help you. Someone could want to connect you to this person that
Right.
can help you. Like
Like it doesn't have to be transactional.
yeah, like there are. I mean, I'm low key that type of person. Like every time I meet someone, I'm like, like I'm like, oh, like you are in this business. Like my, like I'm always connecting people. Like
Yeah.
I have put so many people in relationships. I have gotten so many people jobs. Like that's who I am, and maybe that's the way that I show affection, and that's the way that I show somebody that I care about them. And so maybe it's weird when somebody does it for me.
You and I are these people by nature as well, though, because like girls, the thing about Chris and I is that like I mean, for the first like 6 months of our love affair, when we first met and like fell in love, neither of us left each other's homes empty handed. It was
Yeah.
always like, I was like, here's a bag of clothes. These t-shirts like are too big for me. Can you wear them? Or here's some dinner. And then I would leave his house and he'd be like, I shrunk 12 sweaters in the dryer. Can you take these home with you? Like we would constantly like give each other things.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like a, I love you. I need to take care of you. Like you need to go home with something
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. And
Again, me
like,
being my grandma.
exactly, exactly. Like, but we both do it for each other. I
Yeah.
feel like, and like, that's like one way of like us taking care of each other. But for some people, it's like a this is what I have in my home. Like, what can I give you, kind of thing. And then for some people, it's like a we're out. I want to buy you something. I want to get you something. I want to do this for you. You know,
Yeah.
and like
And
that feels harder to accept than like whatever. And we just need to be better at like we don't need to be more superficial. We don't need to accept like superficial love and connection in our
yeah.
lives, but we need to be better at
I just
accepting.
want to emphasize one thing before we wrap up this long ass conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about monetary things per se. Like it's
No,
not
no, no, no,
about
never.
like I don't know. I don't want to feel like I'm less than
Mm-hmm.
and that somebody needs to help me
Yeah.
in a way. Like that's probably my insecurity that I need to work on. Like I don't want anybody to think that like I don't already have what they can provide me.
Yeah.
You know?
And sometimes it's not monetary, but sometimes it's just also gain in a certain way. Like circling back to the initial conversation about like some people do have these superficial relationships, and sometimes it's like maybe social gain, like maybe it's
Mhm.
like career gain or like whatever it is. Like there's multiple different layers in which you can have superficial relationships and how they would benefit you. But like at the end of the day, the point being that none of those feel authentic to us. And as nice as it would be to be able to be a little superficial, like that's just not who we are, and it's not
Mhm.
true to us, and it doesn't feel right.
Yeah. So what was my topic? It was like taking the long road, not taking shortcuts, and da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
Da. Yeah, I forgot what we were talking about. But yeah, so I love it. I'm
Taking
grateful.
the long road benefits us in the long run. We
Period.
learn a lot more.
Yeah.
We develop deeper connections,
Mm-hmm.
and we will be better for it in the end.
Exactly.
I love her.
Thank you for wrapping it up for me.
You're so welcome.
I'm obsessed with that. I could talk about this topic for the rest of my life,
Ever,
actually.
ever, yeah.
Okay. Well, with all that being said, are you hot or are you bothered this week?
I was gonna be bothered, but I'm actually hot.
I love that.
Okay,
Very
so
me coded.
girls, I have an announcement to make. You guys remember my ex-boyfriend that I talk about? I talk about him all the time. I talk about him essentially every single episode since the conception of this podcast. I always say he's the love of my life, blah, 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 blah. Still stand by that. Haven't seen him in legitimately just over a year and a half. And I finally saw him for the first time. And that's a story for another day. However, leading up to us seeing each other, I've spent a lot of time thinking about what went wrong in our relationship, what he did wrong, and I have a list a million miles long about like what he could have done differently and how he could have been a better partner and blah 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 blah. At a certain point, I did have to take a step back and assess what I could have done to be a better partner. And there's also a million things on that list as well. But one of the biggest things that stood out to me was that I simply just had too much of a guard up. And I did a lot of things that were potentially hurtful, but like mostly just unnecessary and maybe irrational to protect myself and kind of like protect my pride if this person were to prove me wrong, if this person were to hurt me, if this person were to prove to me that like they're not the one for me or whatever that scenario would be. So I had to accept that, and I spent some time thinking about it and like, okay, so like why do I feel this need to protect myself, and like why am I so scared of this? Like what is this? Why do I feel this way? And there's a certain, this is something I've kind of known about myself for a while, but tying it into this specific scenario, like a lot of us, I don't know if you've experienced this, I'm sure you haven't, but I have, and I'm sure a lot of people listening can relate to this. Like a lot of us have watched the older generation of women, the women that raised us, our grandmothers, our mothers, our aunts, our cousins, whoever else. We've watched a lot of these women go through life and kind of give up their sense of self and their own passions, aspirations, careers, hobbies, their own identity to kind of mold themselves into this life with whatever man they choose to be with. And I guess it doesn't even have to be a man. Sometimes it just has to be a person, but I do think that this is a common thing among women where we change our lives to fit the person that we're with. And I've watched it happen, and I've watched it bite a lot of people in the ass. And I think I've said this before, but my dad always raised my sisters and I with this mindset that I think was really helpful, but at the same time is like slightly toxic. And he would tell us, like, you have to go to college, it's non-negotiable, da 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 da. If you ask him about it, when I was a kid, I would ask him, why do I have to go to college? He would say, well, because someday you might meet a man and maybe you'll get married and then you'll have kids and he'll provide and he'll pay the rent or he'll pay the mortgage or he'll put the groceries on the table or whatever the fuck. And then if that falls apart, if the marriage doesn't work out, you might be left alone raising children, no college education, and no, you won't have the ability to get a good job that will allow you to take care of yourself and these children if you don't have an education. So you have to get an education. Makes perfect sense, actually, genuinely, truly, and honestly. I wish when I was 8 years old and being told this, I had like the forethought to like ask my dad, like, is this a woman's problem or a man's problem? Like, if you have to instill that much fear in me and like distrust in men, like, is this a woman's problem or a man's problem? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But obviously, like, I have a lot of fear around like trusting men in general. That's like a given. We obviously all know that. But like allowing myself to give up my life and be reliant on another person. And so anyway, with all of that being said, one of my biggest flaws that I have been able to acknowledge in the failure of my last relationship is that I wasn't giving enough because I was scared to be proven wrong. And I don't think that that was wrong of me. I don't think it was wrong of me to have that fear and that concern. But it does leave me with this question of, is it possible to have both? Can I have a very, very, very successful career and personal life? I mean, and by personal, I mean not with my partner, but individual.
Yeah.
What would that be? Individual life? Like, I don't know how to explain that.
Just your fucking life. Yeah, as an individual. I don't know.
Yeah, a successful career and then also like a successful life as an individual outside of my relationship, in addition to having a successful relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, to boil it down, I'm hot this week because I'm glad I've had this realization and it like allows me to dissect and like learn more about myself. And like, I'm glad I understand like where this comes from. And then I will say that like I saw my ex-boyfriend last weekend. We had a long talk about how things ended between us. And I finally, for the first time, got to hear his perspective about like what went wrong. And that did definitely play a role in it for sure, without a doubt. And I already kind of knew that going into it. So it was interesting to have that validated. But I still don't know. I still don't know. I am absolutely, completely, and entirely petrified to end up as one of those women who looks back on her life when she is 50 years old and says, I really wish I would have done X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't because I was married and I had kids, or he told me it would be easier if I quit my job so I could stay home and take care of the kids, or he told me it would be easier if I quit my job so I could help him with his work or his company, or like
Yeah.
whatever. Like completely and entirely giving up your life for a man. And I've just watched it happen a million times, and I don't want to be one of those people. And it's not always a bad thing, but I'm scared to be one of those people and have it be a bad thing.
So you have this irrational fear. If we actually boil it
I don't
down,
think it's irrational, but yes,
you have
I
a
have a fear.
you have a fear of, well, yeah, no, it's not irrational because you have had this realization. So now you have this fear that if you are in a relationship with a man, you will
Give up my own life for the sake of our relationship and his life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's a valid reason to be scared in a relationship. Like,
And we've talked about this before and we've joked about it, in that when we fall in love with somebody, like we don't know how to like
function.
keep our shit together.
Yeah.
Like you fall so head over heels in love with somebody that like you don't know how to like balance.
You're blind. You have tunnel vision on that person, and
Mhm.
like all you do is want to like care about them, appease them, and like
Nothing in your own life
nothing.
matters.
Like you don't even know like what's going on with your own body. You just are
Mhm.
so obsessed and infatuated with this person
Yeah.
that like that's all that matters.
Yeah. And that's normal and it's beautiful.
That's a good fucking feeling. It's so unhealthy. Like
really
it
good
is the
feeling.
most unhealthy feeling in the world, but like
But at the end of the
it's
day,
the
like
feeling that we chase.
stereotypically, like in a heterosexual relationship, each person bends a little bit because you're so, at first you're so infatuated with each other, nothing else
Mm-hmm.
matters, and you have your tunnel vision and whatever. And then it gets to a certain point where it's like someone tends to bend more. And typically, I mean, if we look at the past however many years of the progression of the United States of America and what the family dynamics of America have looked like, it's usually the woman. She bends, bends, bends. And where does that put her? It puts her as a 55-year-old divorcee, and she doesn't have a career. She
Has
doesn't
no
have her
hard
own personal
skills.
life. And she
Doesn't know how to do anything
has
besides be a mother.
she has a lot of regrets about things she didn't do for herself.
Yeah.
It's not about what she could have done differently in her relationship or how she could have raised her kids differently. Usually it's primarily about like what I oh fuck, like I wish I would have done X, Y, and Z like for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And even if she's not divorced, like usually like we often hear our moms say like, I wish I would have like just I wish I would have taken a pottery class. I wish I would have learned how to play piano. I wish I would have learned how to like whatever it was. I wish I would have finished school.
Yeah,
Like
I was gonna say, I feel like a lot of the times it's more so like, oh, I wish I like did more of this. I wish I still knew how to do that. It's like
yeah.
you just lose
Like
your sense.
I wish I still painted. Like,
Yeah.
and I remember my grandma when she passed away, like one of her biggest regrets in life was like she wished she would have finished school. She lived till she was like fucking, I don't know, in her 80s maybe. Like she went all those years raising somebody's kids, doing her fucking thing as a mother and a wife, and
Mm-hmm.
like the whole time she was like, God, I wish I would have finished school. Like it's just you lose yourself entirely
Mm-hmm.
and you become a mother and a wife, and those are both beautiful identities, absolutely, without a doubt. But like you can be a mother and a wife, but you can still be like yourself
Mm-hmm.
and have your own career, your own hobbies, your own friendships, like those kinds of things. And because I am so, like I've said earlier, I wear my heart on my sleeve, like
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a lover, like I am. When I really do love somebody, like I'm like, you know, literally nothing in my life matters outside of that. And I'm just petrified. I'm petrified of not accomplishing the things I want to accomplish in life because I fucking fell in love. And I just don't know. Like, I don't have the answers. Basically, this topic is inconclusive because I don't have the answers for this. I'm just here to say that, like, I'm hot because I had a realization and I will learn and grow from that realization, which will be great. But I'm a little bothered because I don't know the answer to any of these questions.
Honestly, like we are having a moment of realization and we
Mhm.
are reflecting and realizing and we're being gorgeous and we're growing girls and I forgot what I even talked about, honestly. And
Because it was
like,
so long
yeah,
ago.
like that was like 2 days ago. But yeah, we're just reflecting and realizing and like being hot because we just like don't care. Oh, I remember what
Yeah.
I talked about. Um, yeah.
Yeah. And I think in a perfect world, this is something I obviously need to work on within myself and overcome. It's obviously an issue within me. But if I am ever to be with a partner, they will be somebody that makes me feel so supported in my dreams and goals outside of my relationship with that person that it will help that fear subside.
Mm-hmm.
And
You won't even like have that thought because they won't.
because I'll feel so supported.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I can't, like, I'm not going to bank on that. I have some therapy I probably should do. I should journal about it and maybe talk to my psychic and like whatever else. And I'm still going to try and work on that within myself. But in a perfect world, maybe my future partner will support me in that way and I won't feel that fear at all. But that's pretty much it. Like, and it's honestly, I hate to make it a feminist thing, but like maybe it is a little bit of like a woman thing. Like, because men are meant to have their careers, they're
Mm-hmm.
meant to be providers, they're meant to have their lives outside of their marriage. Like, women haven't always been set up for success in that way. So, I do think it is like a little bit of a unique thing. And since I've obviously watched it play out in a lot of different dynamics that I've witnessed growing up and presently, it becomes a little scarier to me. So that's something I'm working on. It's something I'm working through. We're going to figure it out. I'm either going to die alone with a really gorgeous, blossoming, booming career, or maybe I'll just be Susie Homemaker. What do they call her?
Susie Homemaker,
Susie Homemaker.
Betty
And
Crocker,
I'll
Martha
be
Stewart,
making pot roasts and chicken pot pies and
drinking and taking
casseroles
pills.
and being somebody's wife. And at the end of the day, whatever happens, I'm going to be happy because that's who I am as a person. I'm going to figure it out. And I'll be stewing with my anxiety until then.
I
So,
love that. I love that.
anyway, girls, what's your homework this week? Tell them, tell them, tell them.
The homework this week is to not kill someone or
Don't kill
something.
somebody.
Don't be a murderer. Don't be
Mhm.
a killer. That's not cute. That's not the vibe. We don't want to go into 2025 in jail. Um, let someone do something for you. Or
But
don't.
let somebody do something
I
for
don't
you,
know.
but
Yeah.
don't sacrifice your integrity and your morals for.
I think that we need to go to therapy. That's our homework this week. We have like a lot that we need to work out. Like I'm literally like you're afraid to be in a relationship and I'm afraid to have somebody provide me something. Like we have issues.
We're afraid to be loved.
Thank you guys so much. We're going to wrap this up. No homework this
The
week.
homework this week
No,
is
no,
to
we're
go to
going
fucking therapy.
we're on winter break. No one no one has homework, you guys. Yeah, class is out of session.
No, no, no. While you are on your winter break, please just attend one therapy
Or just do a
session.
little bit of healthy reflection.
Yeah, yeah,
Compare
that too,
yourself
that
to
too.
everybody else around you and be afraid to be in a relationship.
So also, on your winter break, the reading assignments, the homework assignments, they're light. Just one therapy session, some self reflection, and to also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, wherever else. Hot and Bothered the Pod. Give us 5 stars. We love
We
you.
love you.
Merry fucking Christmas. We'll talk to you
Thanks for
so
tuning
soon.
in. Happy
And
Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa. And
we
enlist in the military. I'm leaving.
say a prayer for us, please, because we obviously are
Say a
having some
little prayer
mental
for
health
me.
issues. And we'll talk to you so soon. Okay, we love you.
Bye.